Thank you, Honourable Sekopo. Honourable Niehaus.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm going to be short because I think the main part of the questions that I wanted to ask, I'd probably wait until the 4th when Mr. Justice Cameron is here, but let me ask the following questions quickly. When do you expect now to be fully divorced from the Department of Correctional Services, where that independence that you have will be fully enacted, that you no longer have any links in terms of management, financial transfers, etc., etc.? That's my first question. My second question relates to employment equity. I can't remember, I think you need to help me, whether in terms of also the ratio between males and females you meet, what are the requirements that it should be at least 50-50? And can you give us an indication if that is the case? If not, can you please help us with a plan that you have in order to achieve that? Then I'm going to make a general statement which you may want to respond to or not, and then I think it should stand over until the next meeting. I listened with great interest to the introductory remarks of Mr. Justice Cameron. And I understand where those remarks come from. But I also am very concerned about the environment in which we have to operate. Because if I look at recent statistics, there is an international, what is called an international safety indicator. And in the last year, South Africa has dropped 50 places. In fact, we now find ourselves in a place where we are worse than some countries that are officially at war. Now, I understand what Mr. Justice Cameron is saying to us about the issue of the number of prisons, and as far as I can understand, he's taking us, and I think the CEO also was hinting in that direction, that we can deal with these issues through greater efficiencies within the integrated justice system, rather than trying to build new prisons. But I've watched carefully the social media responses when we have these meetings. And the negative response that there is when we talk about the conditions of prisoners and that prisoners should be treated reasonably, which I fully support, and all of that. We have an environment where the space in order to deal with these issues is extremely small. And people's patience is up. So, in that environment, we need to come up with proposals that will also satisfy the fear of our communities. Because those fears lead to a call, and I fully understand that call, although I may not support the call in terms of its practicality. Those fears lead to a call for harsher and harsher action. Worse conditions in prison, people say we don't care. More and more people to be imprisoned. I want you to comment on this. I personally am engaging in my own mind how we deal with this. Because I think the wave of negative reaction and, in fact, desperation that our communities are feeling has to be addressed. So yes, we can talk about all the nice things in terms of, you know, we must treat prisoners properly, we mustn't increase the number of beds, there's enough prisons already, as Mr. Justice Cameron had said. But what then, if we don't increase the number of prisons, if we don't enact harsher sentences, if we don't deal in a stronger way with the issue of parole and the perception of easy parole, and all the implications all of that has, what then is the message that we need to give to our communities? Because the reality is that our communities out there are feeling entirely unsafe. And the reality also is that the statistics back that up. So I want a response to that, if you can. And then my old bugbear, which I've raised many times, and I know Mr. Justice Cameron agrees with me, and CEO, you also agree. How quickly can we get the declared state patients out of prisons? They should not be there. And I don't know what engagements is going on also with the Department of Health to create the necessary places for those state patients to be accommodated in facilities of the Department of Health. Because as far as I'm concerned, we're actually busy with